years of Bush-Cheney rape and pillage and genocide.
I think there's a huge amount of that, but beyond that, there's also deeper cycles that go 200 and 300 and 400 years, according to the archetypes that we're looking at. That,
well,
if you go
that goes to empire building and dissolving.
Correct. And the idea of a saeculum, which is the idea of the longest span of a human life, or about 120 years, which is Roman, and that's all over, the Nova Order Seclorum that they've, transposed a few letters and put in there. And we've done 2 of those in this country, and we have yet to complete the American Revolution, because here we are still bound to the Queen, still bound to foreign sources that we owe the, quote, national debt to through the Federal Reserve Bank, which is not a part of the federal government, has no reserves, and isn't a bank. What strange days indeed.
That's a very important point for people to ponder. We really aren't beyond the American Revolution. Well, okay. Back in a minute with Clif High, halfpasthuman.com. Do go to the website. It is an extraordinary adventure for those who like to think and those who believe in the, I guess I can use the term collective unconscious and its ability or its resident wisdom. It's an amazing endeavor these two have embarked upon, and you can take part in it. halfpasthuman.com. We'll be right back. Okay, and back with Clif, and George Ewer is listening in. halfpasthuman.com. Okay, Colin Powell has said to expect a crisis January 21st to 22nd. Biden has been blabbing, you saw that. He's talking about terrible times and how people will not be happy at all and blah, blah, blah. And he's saying, I guess, collectively that his and Obama's administration ratings will maybe as low as Bush's. Who knows? So a lot of this stuff's coming home to roost. There's no question about it. When you extrapolate and look at the financial situation in that paradigm, those of us who study this realize that it is not resolvable. It is not. We're talking about something on the order of 16 times a deficit of the world GDP, 1.4, 1.5, who's counting, quadrillion dollars of useless, worthless, speculative instruments, financial instruments, which are trash, total trash. The most they brought so far is 10 cents on the dollar, and the first auction I saw about. And so that's over. There will be, and I think at some level, this has been manipulated. Nothing happens by accident. Perhaps it got a bit out of control. I don't know, but this is to me, a massive reorganization of wealth on a scale that is unprecedented. And I think that there are people who are very well comfortable with the direction things are going, and will, as always, extract, in a parasitic sense, from the middle class, what's left of that, and all classes, actually, to a degree, what they can, and go on their merry way. And those who go to Costa Rica will probably come back in a couple of years when they see it's no better down there.
Maybe a lot sooner. The indications are, too, that this is a unique time in history on a number of different levels, that we won't have the traditional flight of the elite to their safe havens while everybody else rots for a few years, and then they come back when we've all forgotten. This is because we're at reaching the limit of what resources we can extract under current form of, which has to be called predatory or capitalism. Or self-consuming capitalism. It just won't work anymore. We're consuming 40% of the biota of the planet.
Correct.
And at some point, we're going to reach very soon into a point of sustainability, no matter what's done. And then in addition to that, we have the external pressures on the biosphere that are hitting all of the planets in the solar system as our solar system slides into the ecliptic plane of the Milky Way galaxy. Whether or not you dispute that we're from Sagittarius B galaxy sliding into the Milky Way for the first time, or we're merely warping in and out, this is the first time in anything close to modern human history that this has occurred. And the effects on the sun and the rest of the solar system are quite noticeable now. The heliosphere is degraded by 25% in just less than a year and a half.
Be interesting to be a fly on the wall in one of those visiting spacecraft that come here with other intelligent life forms and how they study and watch and what they know about all this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes, it would. The more information, the better, is the way I figure it, and that's why I'm really kind of ticked at the elite. They have a particular viewpoint that I find offensive, and it's not the hoarding of the power and all of that. I find that rather bizarre. I just don't identify with it. But what really ticks me off is the way they hoard knowledge, because there's a whole lot of really smart people out here that are mostly not within their school system. So let's just say the self-educated amongst us who don't allow their educations to be stymied by their schooling could have been very helpful in figuring out different ways to approach.
Could have been.
You know, it's too late now, though.
Yeah, could have been, right. Do we see George Bush going to plant cotton on his 80,000-acre ranch in Uruguay?
He's got some serious crises still affecting him for late November, early December, both related to the earthquake, I think, at one level, but then also something on the other end, either international or militarily. Bear in mind that very soon now China and Russia will announce that they're no longer going to use the dollar between them in their cross-border trades, and that'll take our dollar down to unheard-of lows, and it's just the start. That may be the single largest component that will strike the mass of the populace unaware, is that once we hit early January, the way in which the empire crumbles will be economic. We'll have to do things that'll look really weird, like abandoning military bases and getting people back just to cut the monthly drain on these things.
Well, I've forgotten how many countries we're in now. It's absurd.
190. We have
Is it 190? Yeah. I knew it was up there.
That's very expensive.
It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous.
Yeah, plus we're losing in Afghanistan by any person's measure.
No
and
chance
that's a
to
war
win.
of attrition. That's just like Vietnam.
Right.
You know, the local indigenous people, as long as they're willing to accept the suffering and the losses for the period of time and outbreed those losses, will always win.
I don't know anyone who's won a guerrilla war in terms of empire. It's
especially in the Afghanis have defeated the best that there is. You know, Alexander, Russia, and Russia was right next door. They didn't have our logistics.
Yeah,
plus, we're at that other period of where, and this is quite clear in the data, the last couple of decades in our empire, we've exported all of our technology. We've taught everybody else how we do our
sold it off, given it away. We've had so many spies in this country that the Chinese laugh about it. It's absurd.
I mean, we laugh about it. Let's be clear. Yeah.
Well, we do. The former director of Fort Detrick about 20 years ago said he'd come in on any given day and this ultra-high security bioweapons lab, and he'd say, there were at least half as many communist Chinese here as there were Americans on exchange programs and all that. You know, so
I've worked with some of them in government 15 years ago. Yeah.
Well, you know. Okay, back in just a minute as we survey the landscape. We'll talk to Clif and see if their research shows war coming soon, perhaps, or not. Next. Okay, we continue our conversation on this election eve, the year 2008, with Clif High of halfpasthuman.com. George, you're standing by, doing his work, the economist of the two, and he must have his hit. We'll have to have him on again soon. All right, war or no war? What's it say?
Well, I mean, that's okay. There's pretty much a constant level of military action going on right now. So to say war or no war, we have to be very much more specific. Are we talking new war?
Expanded into new horizons. A new venue like Iran. Will there be a dramatic increase in the amount of activity and noise in the war meme?
No, it actually does not show it as directly held values that way. Yes, there's going to be a whole lot of anxiety about military, but apparently it's all going to be economically driven, and then there's also going to be some confrontations on an international level. Bear in